In the morning, I'm going to document group stalking by helicopter. This is by LAPD, who likes to be heard to both engage in what is demonic activity. This is the audible activity creation amongst that engineered light. This is criminal monitoring and demons that are affiliated with law enforcement agency. They participate in that by also terrorizing the target individual using helicopters. It is both extremely, extraordinarily pathetic. All right, but also very criminal. So at 8:38 a.m., the entity is sounding helicopter activity. They're doing so while they are keeping me under surveillance, aware of the fact of what I'm documenting. And this is the in operation of my internet. And so this is going toward the prosecution of the people of the state acting via Spectrum. Spectrum is a heavily documented third party. They're engaged in not only criminal monitoring, in concert, that is engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring, that is group stalking. They're also engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. Specifically, also engaging in what is you're inherently engaged in corporate invasion of privacy. That's what group stalking is. You are necessarily keeping one under surveillance when you're acting with the entity. But they are also, Spectrum is specifically documented not only as a group stalker in relevant position, but also engaging in state surveillance in violation of Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. Spectrum is also acting criminally for purposes of obstruction of justice. And I want to let you know some of the criminal objectives that Spectrum has in mind. They are acting, let me be clear, in the specific environment, there are no malfunctions. There is nothing that is stopping the entity from engaging in what is hovering criminal monitoring. They will not suffer any sort of errors or malfunction or inoperation. That is not what's actually happening at all. I've let you know some of the superficial barriers when you're, for example, creating a Google account and you can't get past the page that's telling you to provide a phone number, and then you provide the phone number and it says, oh, you can't use that phone number, or you've used that phone number too many times, and this is the first time that you, first of all, ever got that requirement to create a Google account, and second of all, that you ever use that number. That's not an error. That's monitoring. Spectrum is documented engaged in criminal conduct very heavily at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, by the way, engaging in what is the sex offense. They've also been documented engaging in group stalking in concert with the state here at Alvarado Gardens, where the sun was so-called setting. And you're going to remember the documentation, what you just saw, the engineered light that was appearing on my ceiling. As I walked into my bedroom, you'll look at those still images. That's capturing the criminal system, where the entity is feigning what is a malfunction, of a failure of internet. This is obstruction of justice by the entity that knows what you're documenting, uploading very damning evidence. All right, tying together all. Let me be clear. Not only is this entity engaging in what is bullying, they have bullied the wrong person, and they cannot stand the heat. Literally, this is the coward that I am exposing. Okay, that coward happens to be in positions in the government. That coward's going to also be snatched out of their positions, every single last one of them. But I want to let you know the criminal cooperation that they have. Spectrum is a third party. Spectrum is going to be prosecuted civilly and criminally. And every aspect of what is obstruction of justice, that's a threat to your life. You have no business keeping somebody under surveillance in the first place. Any failure of so-called internet is an unlawful intrusion in an ongoing federal investigation, and you will be prosecuted for that. I also want to let you know what is no failure of internet while the entity is at the same time sounding helicopter activity, communicating a threat. There's no failure of internet. And that's exactly what I'm capturing, what I'm hearing while I'm in my apartment. And the entity knows what I'm taking screenshots of, documenting everything that's occurring on my phone is occurring amongst the whole entity. And the entity is engaging in that demonic pattern of communicating a threat and being heard by helicopter while you, again, are documenting the people of the state. That's incriminating Spectrum, which I don't even need any help. They're captured group stalking here in the engineered light under the light source at Alvarado Gardens, where the light source is never going to be present. The sun would never be present at any time of day ever. Moreover than that, the entity provided documentation of the sun. The light source is what it is, rising until time of setting in alignment to me. Okay, east side to the west side of my apartment. That's the pattern of conduct. And Spectrum is documented engaging in that criminal conduct. They're also engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. I want to show you what is a notice provided while they're engaged in state surveillance using the people of the state acting via Spectrum. Some scheduled service maintenance where they will be engaged in federal stalking and group stalking in relevant position. Let me also speak to what is the threat that's being posed. What also is underway? Capturing, getting off of line, not getting off of line because I already have it, but documenting and using internet, which is necessary when I'm getting my podcast, and I'm capturing that offline. Any way that the entity wants to try to slow down, let me be clear. This is a wild corruption that I'm capturing, and this bully that is, let me be clear, bullies are actually punks. They are not strong. They're not tough. Okay, they have come against one. I am exposing them And I'm also prosecuting, and I'm teaching everybody else how you can see them and know them and enforce your rights against them. Nothing to fear. These demons cannot handle it. They're actually not strong at all. And I want to be clear, being a bully is not an exercise of strength. Stalking somebody in a helicopter is not a show of force. It's actually a show of how fearful they are of those whom they are keeping under surveillance. The demon possessed are fearful of those that are not of that condition. Okay? Satan itself is inferior to those who are of the light. That's why the entity is engaged in this criminal conduct, and you're going to prosecute those whom Satan are using in those positions in the government, the people of the state, subservient to Satan. And you know that through their criminal conduct, you know that through the demonic environment, you know that through their demonstration of demon possession and their criminal presence while engineered light is appearing on the roof and inside of the depths of my apartment while I'm showing you the light source rising and the light source setting. Everybody in that environment is engaged in criminal conduct and includes on the venue of the internet, obstructing my ability to access internet, which is what I just documented as well, telling me that my internet, first it stated it was the wrong password. There is no wrong password. It's on automatic reconnect. And then it stated after it said incorrect password, it stated inability to contact. This is what check. Now all of a sudden checking the quality of the internet, and Spectrum is providing a notice for for maintenance tomorrow, not today. And it's maintenance that's going to requires interruption of your internet. So let me also point something out. The corrupt government that you are exposed to, that I'm letting you know all the resources, I mean, every grocery store, every company, in any and every way that you can fathom, the government is acting through the people of the state. So this is any and everybody. You can make up whatever you want. Oh, we actually had a failed line and we had to go out and dig underneath the ground. And then we found this obstruction and it slowed down everybody's connection. They're monitoring. They can make up whatever information. There can literally be a clogged toilet, in other words. Like you saw Kum Lee's clogged sink. It was real. You saw it. And you also saw LAPD tracking my steps as I walked to the back portion of that property. You also saw the light source arrive above my head. And I'm referencing Friday. You saw it arrive above my head. Or was that Thursday? Directly above my head during the 11 o'clock hour. And the entity, now you have the connection of internet. It's going in and out. Okay, this is P.O.C. Anyway, you have the arrival of that light source directly above my head at the 11 o'clock hour while I am juxtaposing the pattern of conduct with what happened on March 22nd, 2022, where at no time ever is the sun going to be over my head while I'm in front of 1812 North Alvarado Street. Walking from Kum Lee's apartment, a demon-possessed group stalker who's going back to Korea, where she came from. And then the light source remaining over me while I'm standing in front of her apartment building, and she's group stalking with the state of California, who's following me around the property in a helicopter while the light source is directly above my head. That in and of itself is the pattern of conduct while you're looking at the sunrise today at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The light source is still over me at the same address. That's impossible. That's not the sun. That would remain stagnated, stationary, and also directly above me. That's the pattern of conduct. But also, we even went beyond that because I'm showing you at the 11 o'clock hour on March 22nd, 2022, same time of year, daylight savings time. I am already on public transportation, never coming anywhere near Los Angeles. I remain in Pomona, and I get back on Route 61, which is going eastbound, and at 11:35, the same exact time, the light source is hovering directly above my head, being directly above my head on Route 61 in motion going eastbound on on Hope Boulevard, is not directly above my head standing at 1810 North Alvarado Street. So I want to be clear, while you are looking at the coexistence, and this is what the entity relies on. We really had a situation where we really needed maintenance of whatever information. They can make it up. They are creating circumstances to justify what is criminal presence and criminal facilitation of the state's criminal system, which is simultaneously underway. It's not based on what they want to give as some reason for slowing down internet connection. That's an unlawful act, threat to the life you're monitoring. And there is no circumstances that are in any way rebutting that or overcoming that. So I want to be clear, where the entity is still stalking by helicopter. What controls? Not some demon-possessed liar, because they're lying. They're lying, and you know their conditions. Demons are lying to you. Okay, but you're not going to prosecute because Spectrum serves Satan. You're going to prosecute because Spectrum is a third-party group stalker engaging in what is federal stalking on the venue of the internet, acting to slow down internet access, which is an unlawful threat to your life, while you are surrounded by what you saw, demonic light in my apartment, the sunrise and the sunset, which is the communication of a threat, terrorism via directed light, while demons are engaged in ongoing psychotic group stalking all around a relevant position in concert with the state that uses helicopters to both engage in that criminal system and communicate a threat. You can claim any sort of maintenance situation that you want. You are inevitably going to be prosecuted for that unlawful threat that you pose while you're interrupting internet service, because you are a bully that cannot handle the fire when it's coming back for you. That's the reality of what's going on. Okay, they have brought this criminal act against one who is not, I am going to prosecute you with everything. It's going to be used against them. Everything that they're doing, understanding it's a tactic and it is facilitation. Okay, understand that. The internet company is able to engage in the creation of some sort of situation surrounding their internet providing services to facilitate what is removing the ability of the targeted individual to use that same internet to prosecute them and the state. This is common sense. This is not rocket science. These are demons who are engaged. Now, the targeted individual is bullying the entity that sought to bully them. Okay, and I'm doing that not for funsies. I'm doing it on behalf of the ordinary target individual who does not have a voice, who is reasonably terrified and has no devices, has nobody to report it to. They're doing it to one, and I'm showing you not only are they pathetic. Stalking somebody in a helicopter is not a show of strength. It's a show of great fear. Okay, and this is an understanding the ability to prosecute, to identify, and also to regulate, legislate around it. Okay, and they engage in what are criminal acts of obstruction. And there is no legally relevant argument that a third party such as Spectrum, who is also documented engaging in group stalking, this is the same entity that engaged in kidnapping. So I want to be clear. I want to document that. My inability to access internet, that's on the watch of what is third party group stalker, Spectrum, who is already engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct. So I'm not even pointing out anything that is outside of the pattern of conduct that they have already been documented engaging in. And I mean demons acting pursuant to calling themselves Spectrum, coming in and walking, pacing around in the engineered light while their shadows flinging all over the place. Demons calling themselves employees of Spectrum. Yes, that's already been captured. All right, they're also engaging in the pattern of conduct on the venue of the internet, obstructing my ability to access that internet. That's an unlawful threat to my life. And it is intolerable. I don't care what circumstances you have. It's irrelevant. It's within the P.O.C. And that's exactly how you're going to prosecute a corrupt government. It is currently 8:50 a.m. I want to make sure that we can see what's the current state of my internet now. This is the ongoing P.O.C. that the entity is always engaging in. And they are engaged in real-time surveillance, every word that I utter. Okay, so it is continuously remaining non-connection is being documented right now at 8:51 a.m. And this is the same Spectrum. So there's nothing new with regard to Spectrum. Spectrum is nothing other than a third-party group stalker, which the entity is utilizing and seeking to obstruct justice. It's not stopping me. It is obstruction of justice, but this is not stopping. I'm going to use this also against the entity. And I'm also going to make an example. The demon possessed are nothing to fear. The demon possessed are what you need to identify. You need to be mindful and aware of them because they are posing a threat to you. They are bullies and they're cowards. They cannot deal with facts. They can't face reality. They're going to be sitting in federal cells and mental facilities across this nation, and they're going to sit and deal with it, okay? The bullies that are engaging in this criminal system against those that cannot defend or advocate on their own behalf, I'm speaking on their behalf, and this entire entity is pathetic, okay? So somebody that, like myself, who's putting them in their proper place, and they cannot in any way take it. They can't deal with it. They can't stand it. They can't face it. And so you're talking about deleting evidence. That's somebody that's scared. You're fearful and you're a coward. The entity that's engaged trying to obstruct justice by slowing down internet, not only is that not going to stop it, you're not slowing down the beast that's coming against you. And I'm talking about a prosecution justice, not the beast that is Satan. But again, that beast is nothing other than a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. Nothing to fear. If they're stalking you, they're monitoring you, they're consumed with you, the center of their universe is you, that's nothing to be fearful of. They're the ones who are fearful of you. They want to remain out of the zone of identity. So they want to, in other words, be below radar, not be on your radar, you not be able to be aware of their presence and their ongoing agenda. All right, so that's a lost feat, and it's being exposed. I want to be clear, this is not a genuine loss of connection that's going in and out. This is an entity that's engaged in real-time monitoring on the venue of the internet and in a relevant position, and it's an ongoing threat. And Spectrum is going to be prosecuted for their ongoing criminal facilitation. And so I want to make sure that you understand that. It's the same thing when the entity is creating superficial obstacles to create the Google pages where I'm uploading evidence and where they're deleting evidence from that folder as well, from those folders, because they are fearful of the one who is now coming for them. Okay? It is again 8:53 a.m. and this is P.O.C.